Would you be disappointed if Arsenal don't get a striker this window, Curtis?
Bro, honestly, I'll go beyond that, and I'll go beyond that. And I would say if Arsenal don't buy a striker, I don't think we can win the title next season. That's me being honest. I don't see it. Now, people will say, oh, negative, or we scored 90 goals last season. It's not that we can't get the numbers, it's the moments in the big games. We all watched that Tottenham Man City game last season where Son missed. I thought Man City played very average that day. Haaland scored both goals. They won the game. That's what a top striker does for you at times. They will win you a game when your back's against the wall and your team is struggling. And I've mentioned this stat a number of times about last season. Havertz last season didn't score home or away against Liverpool. He didn't score home or away against Man City or in the Community Shield. So that's 5 games. He didn't score against Porto in the knockout stage, home or away. And he didn't score against Bayern Munich, home or away. So in 9 of our biggest, toughest games of the season, Havertz didn't get 1 goal. Now, that's not me saying he didn't contribute, because he got an assist against Man City and he got, Konate sent off against Liverpool. But in your 9 biggest games, your striker hasn't hit the back of the net once. Now, in a lot of those big games, Aston Villa at home, West Ham at home, Fulham away, games we should have won, we were desperate for a goal. Havertz is not that clutch striker. You saw it with Germany against Spain, 1-on-1 with the keeper. The game before, he did that great turn, 1-on-1. He's not a goal scorer. He's not a natural striker. And Arsenal create a lot of chances. So for me, it's the most important signing of the summer is the striker. And if they stick with Havertz as the number 1 striker and you're running with Jesus as the backup against Haaland, who hasn't played a Euros, who's going to be fresh and ready to go, and Alvarez, I don't think that bridges the gap. Ultimately, we keep finishing behind Man City, which means we need to do something to get ahead of them. Keeping Havertz up front for a season, for me, I think we could finish second. We could compete for trophies, but you are not beating Pep Guardiola's Man City with Havertz up top. It is not happening. I'm sorry.
Yeah. But getting us across the line is so vital and important. And I don't mean winning a League Cup finally. I mean getting us across the big boy trophies. What do you think he needs to do this season for you to allow everybody like you and I to feel like, yeah, do you know what? Fair play. Is it win the big boy? Is it win a trophy? Like, what's he got to do, bruv?
I mean, listen, context is everything. You could finish second and win nothing. I might be saying he's got to go. He could finish second and win the FA Cup and the League Cup. And I'm saying, okay, that's something to build on. This is his 3rd title challenge this season against Pep. The first one kind of came out of nowhere, and that one went. I felt there were reasons behind that, in particular the Saliba injury. Last season, personally, I think we should have won the league. I think we genuinely should have won the title last year. That Aston Villa game, to me, was where it went. And that's why I went so crazy after that game, because I just felt that's where we'd thrown it away. To me, if he can't win the league this season, which is very difficult, by the way, I'm under no illusion. This is Pep Man City, one of the best teams we've seen. But if you've had 3 title challenges and you haven't been able to get the better of him, and if you're not winning trophies elsewhere, then my question is always, well, if not now, then when? When is Arteta going to be able? Are we going to have to wait for Pep to leave the Premier League before Arteta wins the title? Which, in a way, you want to win the league when he's here to say,
yeah, you do.
It off Pep. You don't want to wait, Klopp's gone, Pep's gone. Now we've nicked a title. I want to win it while Pep's here. I just think, listen, my thing with Arteta is this. I feel like I will give him credit or criticize him based on what I see. Over the last 2 seasons, he's deserved a lot of credit for what has happened over the last 2 years. You've implemented a style of football that is excellent to watch. We're getting big points tallies. We're scoring a lot of goals. You're improving players. We've got a young squad that's worth a lot of money. How can I not sit here and applaud him for doing those things? I'm not going to, just criticize the guy for everything he does. He's done some brilliant things. However, at the same time, this is your 6th season at the football club and you've won 1 FA Cup. Now, people include Community Shields, but I don't class that as a major trophy. You've won 1 FA Cup in 5 seasons. You've had a lot of time, you've had a lot of stability, and you've had a lot of money. You've had 700 million. We'll probably spend at least another 150 to 200 this year. So if you've been at a club for 5 seasons, you've spent over 800 million, which I think it will be by the end of this transfer window. You've then got to deliver something. We can't talk about trust the process, the time. We're Arsenal Football Club, bro. Like, Newcastle have made the Champions League. Aston Villa have just made the Champions League. Tottenham have made the Champions League a few times in the last few years. Arsenal getting top 4 under Arsene Wenger led to protests outside the stadium. Fans said, I don't care about top 4, mate. You need to win something. We can't then, 7, 8, 9 years after Wenger, start turning around and saying, oh, this is success. This isn't success. We're one of the biggest clubs in the world. We make crazy amounts of money on a match day. We've got a massive stadium, quality training ground. Everything is in place for this football club to be successful. So to me now, people constantly tell me Arteta's a brilliant manager. And I say, okay, I'm not quite in that same boat of thinking he's a brilliant manager. But if he is a brilliant manager, and we've got a very good team at the moment, to me, he should be delivering trophies to this football club. And that's where I see it. I think his cup record over the last 5 years has been very poor, but maybe he doesn't view the League Cup and the FA Cup in the same way. So maybe he thinks, I need to win the Premier League and I'll let those trophies go. But that's fair enough. But you've got to then deliver a Premier League. Now, people say who can replace Arteta, but I always say this. When Emery left, very few people would have sat there and said, go and get Man City's assistant manager, who's never managed a game in his life. We're now sitting here saying, he's a good manager. So we can't get tied down in this situation of thinking we can never let Arteta go because who can replace him? Because Xabi Alonso's just won the Bundesliga. Simone Inzaghi's just won Serie A. There are managers out there who can do a job. Ancelotti might be leaving Real Madrid next summer. There's other managers we could talk about. We'd be here all day. But for me now, Arteta has had the time, the patience, the structure. You've got to go and deliver something major in my eyes. Now, as I said, it could be context. I can't just say second isn't enough because if he won like the League Cup, the FA Cup and got to a Champions League semi-final, that makes it a bit different. But to me, he has to win silverware this season because I've said it before and I've said it again. Saliba will leave if we keep finishing second. You're playing for France and Mbappe and Camavinga and all those guys. Just won the Champions League or just won the Liga. He's going to sit there and go, I need to win something eventually. I can't sit here for years. Saka will be the same at England, and if he wins the Euros, that's going to give him that taste for success and he's going to want more of it. So I think Arteta this year has to win a trophy. We have to take that step forward now. And, Liverpool managed to do it. People say, Liverpool only won 1 title, but Klopp won Champions Leagues and got to 3 finals and won the FA Cup, won the League Cup, won the World Club Cup and the Super Cup. So he's got to go and win things this season for me. I think he's had enough time. I think the team's good enough. He's been backed by the owners. Otherwise, you're a manager that can compete, but maybe not get us over the line. And that's everything people have said about Southgate. You compete, you get semi-finals, you get to the final, but you don't win. That's why everyone's critical of him. And the same thing should apply to Arteta, in my opinion.